In the bottom right, we have Psystorm Gaming's MaxPax. And in the top left, it is Team Liquid SKillous. SKillous narrowly defeating Lambo in his EVP, and has now made this into a PvP best of 3 semifinals and a guaranteed PvT best of 5 finals. Clem is waiting for the winner of this, as he usually is. I would believe him to be favored versus both of these players, but MaxPax, I guess, gives the most chances, I suppose. SKillous's PvT is fine, but I don't believe it gets tested in the same way. I mean, against Clem as often as MaxPax is, I guess, is really what I'm trying to say. MaxPax is almost always the farthest placing Protoss in the Open Cup, and because he plays in every single one of them, that means he's often doing it. And ditto and Clem, most often farthest placing Terran player, so they both meet in the finals a lot. Recently, Clem's been really dominating, but MaxPax has definitely thrown a couple of curveballs. SKillous a little less so. I mean, SKillous has a fine PvT, and he has defeated some of the other Terrans in the Open Cup, but I think that would be a much bigger struggle for him to win the best of 5 than to win this best of 3, actually. Even though PvP against MaxPax is historically very difficult, and is a little less difficult nowadays, but still pretty freaking difficult. Yeah, SKillous probably have a very, very tough time against Clem. But that's a bit farther in the future. Right now, for the PvP, I do believe SKillous has a solid chance to take down MaxPax. Showtime actually started off 1-0 versus MaxPax before this. Lost out in a Phoenix v Phoenix game, which MaxPax almost always wins those. And I'm not sure what happened in Game 3, actually. But somehow, MaxPax won. So we have MaxPax going for the low ground expansion on the map that actually does make sense for it, to be fair. But SKillous choosing not to do so, does not want to play into MaxPax's game. He might do a natural in one of these games in best of 3, but... if it was going to be on a map, I would expect this one, actually. Regardless, since SKillous is not going for the expansion... oh, doesn't get the second deny in the Nexus. SKillous is going to have to do some damage to make up for the much, much later Nexus. Although, if he gets it now, he's actually building up the 400 mineral, so it's not going to be that much later. Now, if he gets it now, that's exactly what he's going to do, then he will not be so far behind. That's like a 20-second, 25-second difference. He's going to have a little bit more pressure to apply on his opponents, although currently he's just chasing around a single adept, stopping it. Oh, almost stopping it from getting the scout. That is the keyword, almost. The Nexus is still scouted. SKillous doesn't have any surprise factor. Maybe MaxPax would hold off on being a little bit greedy if he didn't know his opponent was going for a Nexus. Maybe he was still all-inning, right? But now that he knows, even if SKillous was being a little bit aggressive, it's something that a shield battery and a unit or two would be able to hold. Oracle flying into the main base actually is going into a bit of a trap. Oh, wow. Taking the time to get the revelation was very, very dodgy. It does work. But now MaxPax has one very injured Oracle. Second one is still in development, and it's probably still worth to do this, but SKillous just made life for himself perhaps a little bit easier. Blink is on the way for SKillous. Blink will be on the way for MaxPax as well, and really not all that much later than his opponents. And SKillous has managed to even grab a little bit of a probe lead, still keeping one probe ahead. Now MaxPax takes a 1 probe lead. So close. Yeah, you're gonna have to actually move those probes very far away. Yeah, absolutely safe. Just a couple of probes in a lock. Not the biggest of deals. And this game is pretty freaking even, actually. MaxPax looking towards a third by the looks of things. SKillous not yet decided. Still dealing with the Oracle harassment. Still incapable of actually killing these suckers. Another Oracle near death, but still alive. And this is a fairly passive PvP, actually. Both of them grabbed their third Nexus around the same time. MaxPax actually a little bit slower. And now the question is, who adds on? I mean, a Forge? The attack on the third actually is a little spicier than I was thinking it would be. SKillous has an almost identical number of units, but not quite. He also is hesitant to move out of protecting his mineral lines. Well, this was a slam dunk victory for MaxPax. That seemed way too easy. MaxPax canceling his opponent's third base, supply blocking him as well. I mean, that was just a huge gain for MaxPax. SKillous not expecting the army move out, I suppose. Didn't have as many units warped in, and then couldn't get as many units as necessary to defend his third, as well as his natural and main. But that's really weird because, well, I guess the two oracles had joined up eventually. Yeah, man, I mean, no matter the reason, at the end of the day, that was a huge blow to SKillous. He's now an entire Nexus behind. This suddenly got flipped on its head. It was very, very, very close, and now it's undeniably MaxPax favored. The faster robo for SKillous isn't going to do him very many favors, and the slightly faster +1 is very much slightly faster. So MaxPax now ahead of Nexus, now ahead by 7 workers. Like that 9. I mean, he's on his way to victory in about 60 seconds, I would say. For the economy to kick in, for his upgrade to kick in, and for his army to actually develop. Okay, maybe 90 seconds, but, you know, but still, I mean, he's even winning a soccer war over here. 14 stalkers for SKillous means that he should be winning, but where the heck are they? Having to be pulled back onto the front lines. Yet again, that same dilemma. Interfering with SKillous's defense. And this time, there's actually no question. SKillous had more units. He just didn't have them positioned. I mean, seems like very subtle moves here, but the subtle moves from MaxPax are gaining big, big benefits. He's winning the soccer war. He's actually winning it. Well, this one soccer is being lazy, but he's actually still winning it. So many of the stalkers of SKillous are actually more injured. His Nexus is dangerously close to dying. Now, I don't know if MaxPax actually want to sack his stalkers for the kill, but it looks like he absolutely will. But that is a sack of many stalkers. Many, many, many blue stalkers will lose their lives for the kill on the Nexus. Was that a mistake? Because MaxPax didn't have to kill that Nexus to still be ahead. He absolutely did not. Now this opens up an opportunity for SKillous to use a superior army advantage. He's over 20 army supply. Well, 15 now of his opponent. To great effect. He could go for a counterattack right into the heart of MaxPax, right into that natural is exactly what he wants to do. Warp Prism is also out. Shield Battery has to be popped. As MaxPax has a Shield Battery Overcharge and an Immortal, it does look like the initial defense will be good. But what about the follow-up defense? Immortal gets jumped upon 2-shot as well, despite the Overcharge still in effect. And MaxPax is in a lot of trouble. He's about to not be able to make any more Stalkers. 7X Core is gone. Fortunately, charge is done, so the Zealots will be somewhat more effective, but is it going to be enough? That's an Observer popping out, not an Immortal, not exactly what you would want, as that's not going to be able to help at all, and MaxPax is in so much trouble, he might as well pull the probes. He's got 10 to lose. He's got more to lose than that, actually, because he still has a third Nexus. His Robo is going to go down, and the Stalker numbers of MaxPax still are not high enough to take this battle. That was a big overextension on that third base. MaxPax. Oh, he's going to regret that one. MaxPax also unable to use all of his money. He finally has another 7X Core, and he is still holding on with his production still intact. Now the probes are going to be pulled alongside the army engagements. Maybe we get close enough to Warp Prism, and actually SKillous realized that is going to back away before it goes down. Blink Forward is not going to be able to capture it, and SKillous, I think, is going to win with this counterattack, guys. The attempted break from MaxPax did not work out, and he is now going to lose his Nexus. He already lost his probes. The benefit he has now is charge versus no charge, but is that enough to make up for the deficits that he is now in? I mean, the Nexus actually did not fall, so hold on. Hold on. Nexus not fallen. Warp Prism once again disengaging. Zealots still better for MaxPax whenever they're actually warped in anyway. Here we go. Big warp in coming on the right side. Stalker is still tangling on the left, but that's a lot of Protoss from this. It's a lot of SKillous. God damn it. That's a lot of Protoss units from SKillous. But the charge lot numbers are starting to get very, very hefty. SKillous' supply now very much evening up with MaxPax's. Where's the Warp Prism? Up to the top side, still trying to warp in, but SKillous is having a gas problem currently. He can't warp in enough stalkers. When he warps in zealots, they don't have charge. So they are just worse. The charge lots of MaxPax really starting to play a part. Maybe still not a big enough one, though. The shield battery would be amazing to have on this third base. MaxPax trying to claw his way back in here. Still down in the armor supply, still down in the worker supply, but he does have the charge lot benefit. Can he get more charge lots involved? Right now, just focusing on the stalker reinforcements, hoping to win out in the micro, which he might actually be doing. But the warp prism still being intact has always been a thorn in MaxPax's side. If he can be able to kill that earlier, this would be no contest at this point. And that Nexus, by the way, still alive. Just really want to emphasize that because I thought that was a goner for sure. Still mining with a handful of probes. And SKillous, even though he has 8 more workers, isn't really utilizing them to the greatest effect. His main base is actually halfway depleted. And his natural is oversaturated. It's not the most benefit you get from those extra probes. So MaxPax actually still in maybe even the better economic position. He actually has been for a majority of that fight. Now that was probably more of the fight, but still, he's getting back there. He's getting back to being in a superior economic position. He's even affording additional probes. I believe his probe just scouted the third Nexus, so he knows that SKillous is not all in anymore. So he figures he also can add in some probes. Might be right about that. He is missing a shield battery in the natural, as well as a wall that he used to have. But he has bolstered his army. 22 stalkers from MaxPax to 21 of SKillous. Charge versus no charge. 3 Nexus, 50 probes for both players. And the 3 Nexus are mining much, much better. And now SKillous is going to try and go for the Nexus kill. Something to actually try and salvage that. There's no shield battery in the natural to save the day. The Stalkers will get the last shot of the Zealot. Do not! Yes! He's going to grab it. The Stalkers had to return back to it, but he will finally take down that Nexus. However, it is still more problematic for SKillous, as his third Nexus will finish. I guess he also has now a healthy mining mineral field. But it is later to healthy mining than MaxPax has been on for the last minute. And overall, you can see that MaxPax has had big economic victories. So maybe a little bit more infrastructure. 9 gateways to 7, for instance. And, of course, making up for the losses on his army is also a big chunk of change that he was able to do just barely because he had won out the economy battle earlier on. The SKillous is now down 9 workers as some zealots come in to kill some of his probes. He's under attack on the front lines, although MaxPax doesn't have a warp prism, so I'm not sure how serious MaxPax is about this. Serious enough to hold position. This is actually quite dangerous. SKillous might be overwhelming the numbers of MaxPax. MaxPax making another big mistake on the offensive by the looks of things. Some reinforcements do come across from the map. That's not exactly ideal. We also have a Warp Prism second micro. If SKillous has got the skills, and it seems that he does, he can blink and micro with the Warp Prism. And MaxPax did overstay his welcome. Without that Warp Prism, he didn't have as instant of reinforcements as his opponents. So Defender's Advantage kicked in. Something that sometimes doesn't exist as much in PvP because of the gateway factor, but in that case, 100%. It was like a TVT. It was like the Terran overstaying their welcome on a contain because the other guy is reinforcing with 20 Marines before you are. MaxPax, though, despite being overwhelmed, was not overwhelmed so much that he is in extreme danger, but he is once again in more danger than perhaps he should be, as his 4th Nexus has to be cancelled. He still is ahead by 8 probes, but his army count has once again been cut because of the overextension. Same story, in my opinion. He is replacing a lot of the Stalkers' loss with charge lots, and if you get to a certain number of charge lots, they are good against Stalkers. It's when they're at kind of a mug count, like under 12 or 15 or something, that the Stalkers of your opponents might be superior, especially if they already have superior Stalker numbers. So they'll just blink back, blink back all day long, as the Zealots race forward to try and get some shots off. The Zealots are far more useful for these run-bys, which is what MaxPax had in mind, sent them to the third base, and the mining is now going to get out with them. But nonetheless, if they do get to a number of, let's say, 15, and they're at 13 right now, they will be a huge help in the actual engagement. SKillous actually figuring they're just chilling off the left side, manages to collect a couple more. MaxPax goes for a 4th base over on that left, as opposed to the right. Is there an observer? There is an observer seeing everything, so SKillous knows where the Nexus is. 2 Adepts, 15 minutes in, going for the gold here, hoping to get maybe 4 probes before they actually get taken down. SKillous also defending MaxPax's push to the front lines. His superior stalker count against the number of units MaxPax has is just better. It's just better. Again, if MaxPax had 15 stalkers, 15 zealots, then the stalkers of SKillous have trouble. But at only 8 zealots, and they're getting kind of locked behind the stalkers. It's the more microable army is SKillous, but I didn't even realize that MaxPax has had a +2 upgrade lead for some time. That's maybe why he's been pushing the issue so much. However, that +2 upgrade lead can't overcome what was at one point like a 12 stalker lead. Now it might be able to, as the stalkers are a little more in line with each other. Guardian Shield, however, very effective here for SKillous. Nice of him to include that. His +2 is also about 20 seconds away from finishing. He might be able to hold on long enough defensively to actually get that to kick in. 10 more seconds on that one. Shield battery to the third base. Shield battery in the natural, but way far back. Supplies are very, very even. MaxPax has that worker lead. He has the 4th base up and running. He has the superior mining right now, but SKillous has the superior army. And everything else equal. SKillous is going to win this fight as MaxPax may be overextending for a 3rd time this game. Should not be looking to tangle anymore. He does not have the upgrade lead, and he certainly does not have the stalker lead. He's at half the stalkers of his opponent. Where is his army? He can't afford to make one. Actually cuts, I guess, not just mineral problems, but also gas problems, similar to what SKillous had earlier on in this game. MaxPax cannot get such a superior economy that he simply overwhelms. And if he's not overwhelming, he's taking bad traits. 4,000 resources down in a game that has been very, very tight on the economies. That is MaxPax's biggest problem. He's not taking the efficient fights. It is only the only reason he's in this game is because he's had the superior economies. SKillous really making do with what he's got here, but as the time ticks on, MaxPax will eventually have a super superior force. Enough to actually just A move. We're not there quite yet, so that blink forward is very awkward. The charge lot's welcoming that blink forward, giving the stalkers a big ol' hug. And MaxPax disengages as soon as SKillous has that blink back online, can actually micro with them. More charge lots soon to be added in. 20 zealots from MaxPax looking to come in from behind, actually, as SKillous continues to blink forward aggressively. He might be underestimating the power of the charge lots. More warped in. Stalker still intact from MaxPax. This is the last hurrah from SKillous as he doesn't have a 4th nexus. He's losing probes back at home, and this last hurrah is not going to work. He was this close to actually getting MaxPax down in game number 1 and missed the opportunity. Perhaps because of the gas problem, actually. If he had 4 more stalkers, let's just throw out a number. 4 more stalkers. He actually might have been able to overwhelm MaxPax. But at one point, he did have a gas problem. Yeah, the minerals, not enough gas. But of course, if he had enough gas, he would have also had another assimilator and 3 more probes off of mining, so he might not have had the minerals. And the point is, it was very, 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 very close. But it was only close because MaxPax let it get close. MaxPax let it get as close as it did 3 times over. The first time, huge blunder. He killed an entire Nexus almost for free. Well, he canceled one. Almost for free. And knew that he had that lead, yet still sacrificed like 10 stalkers to kill the next 3rd Nexus. Which he really, I would say, did not have to do. And that opened up the opportunity for SKillous to make a comeback happen in this game. Which I think he did. I think he made the comeback happen, but obviously he didn't win it. Because it was still a very difficult game for him. But he definitely opened up that comeback opportunity. So MaxPax, maybe he's wiping the sweat off his brow. Not going to let that happen again in game 2. Going to be a little more conservative, maybe. Very fun first game. In the bottom left, it is MaxPax. In the top right, it is SKillous. It's a fun game, but again, probably shouldn't have been. Probably should have been a bit lamer, you know, kind of like, oh, MaxPax canceled an entire Nexus, and he just plays this out really slowly but steadily, and I guess he wins. Okay, great. But by dying to take down that 3rd Nexus, MaxPax opened up a whole heck of a lot of problems for himself. Now, I was wrong about which map would maybe have SKillous go for that natural. It's actually Royal Blood, which, I mean, obviously doesn't have that natural ramp, so it's less likely to do this, unless your name is MaxPax. MaxPax always goes for the forward gateway. But SKillous looking to play this game. MaxPax is the best with this, but not so much that the other guys who try it don't have a chance at all. And there's always a chance that something really wrong happens, like MaxPax checks the Nexus for a chrono and then misses the natural Nexus being placed. Clearly not going to be a Nexus anytime soon, though, as SKillous actually added on a second gateway. Nexus still being blocked successfully by SKillous. It's MaxPax just accepting that that will happen. Hasn't even really looked all that eager to try and accumulate 400 minerals. Now he should actually accumulate 400 minerals, as the Zealot's almost out. Will stop any pylon from being too much of a bother. You know the drill. We've seen this enough, even though it's less than it was a year ago on the old map pool. We still see this opener enough in PvP when you cast MaxPax. And that is the drill. The Zealot could go across the map to try and cause some problems, but that would be a really bad thing to do when you're up against a 2-gateway opponent. Like, if this was the same thing, then the Zealot can do whatever it wants, I guess. But it is usually kept back here to make sure the pylon block doesn't happen. And in this case, it would be suicidal to go across the map. No achievement there. MaxPax knows that, so I think that might have just been rallied habit. Both of them with their probes still alive, by the way. SKillous making sure to get his stalkers across the map ASAP. Does not deal with his opponent's probe. Doesn't care that he's being scouted. The jig is already up as far as the 2 gateways. You know, and apparently SKillous is going to go for a Nexus, which is obviously important scouting for MaxPax. But it's not something that SKillous is holding above all to be kept secret. He wants this pressure from these 2 stalkers, and he will not be able to snowball too much with them. But it was close. He kills that stalker. There's only the Zealot and the shield battery. That's a problem, because the warp gate's still not done. But he did not kill the stalker, so there's still a little bit of that range to counteract SKillous's range with the shield battery defending. Should be good enough, and it absolutely will, because MaxPax again has that probe in the main base, scouting that there won't be an immediate follow-up, so the almost dead stalker will not lose him any type of game. Oracle is on the way as well, so even if that probe had gone down, which it finally will, Oracle would get some scouting as well. Timing of the shield battery, just perfect. Actually perfect. And the stasis trap is going to go off. That seems like a bold move to me, but MaxPax, obviously a much better player, knew that that was going to work out. And SKillous, also realizing it was going to work out, did retreat in time to save most of his units. Looks like there's a little bit of a scuffle on the defense. However, the scuffle ends in a bit of trade, I suppose. 1 stalker for... Oh, 2. SKillous did lose 2 stalkers. He saved 1, but it's almost dead. Hmm. 2 oracles, not with too much energy, but just enough. It's always just enough, isn't it? 3 probes do go down. More importantly, 2 oracles live. So another 3 could go down, and another 3, and then another 3. And MaxPax finds himself ahead by 4 workers. Blink is a little bit farther behind. It's by like 25 seconds. So that is enough to give SKillous a decent advantage in the 3rd Nexus timing, having that map control. But only if he really plays that super, super well. Toes the line really well. MaxPax could actually still defend his 3rd Nexus if he gets it up basically quick enough with the shield battery, even if he doesn't have Blink. And that's exactly what he's gunning for, is to get that Nexus set up with a pylon to get a shield battery to then defend SKillous's superior Blink technology attack. If SKillous even goes for it. SKillous right now having a tough time deflecting the oracles as well as the adepts and the natural. Has lost 5 probes, thus in this particular attack, overall has lost 9. And SKillous is now desperate to actually cancel that Nexus. If he doesn't cancel this Nexus, it is effectively game over. Link is almost done for MaxPax, so that advantage no longer goes to SKillous, and in fact, MaxPax, realizing his blink was almost done, gets aggressive on his opponent, takes down one stalker, another one very, very injured, loses one of his own, and maybe a second one. Good target fire there from SKillous, just barely doesn't grab it, and actually it is SKillous who loses out on the stalker micro war, while also losing out on the economy, losing all the probes, losing a third nexus timing. It's really not here anymore. I guess he's gonna try for it. He's got the minerals, that's for certain, but it's so late. He'd have to hope that MaxPax once again over-invests. Which I would say is not likely to happen, but it did happen last game. You know, MaxPax is usually good on the decision-making, but he did show a weakness last game. It's just that with such a weakness displayed, I mean, that's usually the time in which a player goes, oh shit, can't do that again, and they do play a little more cautious. So, yeah, the odds are really against SKillous here. He's hoping MaxPax will screw up. MaxPax has already learned that lesson, reminded himself of that lesson, and probably will not over-dedicate in such a fashion again. Which does mean, you know, alternatively, that if MaxPax won't be aggressive because he is a little shy, because he did almost throw that last game away, SKillous might be able to recover just by being a bit of a risk taker on the macro front. More chronos on his probes, more chronos on his upgrades, maybe trying to dive towards superior technology, something like that. But there's only so much you can do if MaxPax is also playing safe, then he's also probably macroing just as well as you. And taking such risks, because they're not risks for him, he is just ahead. Yeah, tough game, right? Tough game. The supplies really don't look all that different, and in fact, the probe counts is now completely even. But you can see all the income that MaxPax has been able to invest over time into a faster +1, faster charge, faster fourth nexus, and superior army. But it is a little bit every which way we look, which is generally good for the guy who has a little bit more in every department, of course, but means that one faulty move could turn the tables. You know, MaxPax thinks, oh, I have an army supply lead, I'll get really aggressive, over-dedicates into a shield body overcharge. Okay, you would still have maybe the faster upgrades I was talking about, but you also might still be in trouble. It looks like MaxPax is going to slice and dice up his opponents, knowing that SKillous is in a position where he needs everything at one place to properly defend. MaxPax comes in with a huge charge that warp into the main base. And just the mere fact that that got to warp in is already devastating for SKillous. You know, even if he had managed to save all of his probes, 13 didn't just die. The distraction is already huge. The 14 probes have gone down, sentries have been killed, stalkers have been killed. MaxPax also looking to win out on the front lines. Actually not doing so, not yet anyway. But certainly winning the game as his fourth nexus is done. He is up now almost 20 workers. His +2 has started, SKillous has not, and MaxPax is, I believe, once again, going to be going into the finals, face Clem. An Immortal pops in here to help out the engagement, and is a huge help every shot, contributing a lot to the overall engagement as the Stalkers regress. That is going to be it. MaxPax 2-0 moves on to the grand finals, best of 5 versus Clem.